Good morning. I'll call to order the Public Services Committee on Tuesday, July 10th at 11:01 a.m. And with that, roll call, please.
Spiz.
Here.
Jackson. Here. Berman is absent with notice. Teets.
Here.
McGilvray.
Here.
Dwyer.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now have a motion for approval of the minutes from the June 5th, 2018 meeting, moved by Commissioner McGilvray, supported by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Thank you. Now we'll have a motion for today's agenda, moved by Commissioner Spiz, supported by Commissioner Teets. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. We'll now open it up for public comments. Anybody from the audience would like to make any public comments? Go forward to the back of the room, please. Public comments?
And I move to the back of the room here.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, if you'll please identify yourself and what city, township, or village you're from. And we would ask that you keep your comments to no more than 4 minutes.
Okay. I'm Shelley Prebenda. I actually reside in Rhode Island.
Oh, good morning.
But I am the daughter of Ann and Richard Glenn, who live in Clarkston, Michigan. And after about 3.5 years of working really diligently with my sisters to try to address some very serious problems that are going on in my parents' home and on their property, I made the decision, the very difficult decision, to file a complaint in April of this year with animal control. And I basically outline the situation, and I'd like to follow the notes that I have, just
Certainly.
because it will save time and it will make sure that I don't leave anything out.
Appreciate it.
Is it okay if I sit?
Certainly.
Okay, thank you. When I'm going to start over. When Oakland County Animal Control determines that it won't act, to the detriment of numerous animals locked in a clutter of cages and debris, while the owners are elderly and physically impaired with diminished energy and resources, this agency is enabling a dangerous situation to fester and potentially boil over. This is a story about trying to rescue neglected dogs, about coming to terms with the reality that things in my parents' home were spinning out of control. It's a story about failed attempts and searching for answers, about trying to save dogs. To ensure our parents' health and safety by scaling back the sheer number of animals, so that my father would not crumble under the weight of his daily responsibilities or die from exhaustion, and so that my mother would love and care for the 15 to 20 dogs she could manage instead of the 50 dogs she could not. It's a story about discovery, that our hands were tied, that my sisters and I couldn't do this alone. We tried everything. We visited, but preparation for visitors put our father and the animals under increased stress. We helped, but we were told don't touch. We tried therapeutic intervention, but counseling won't help those who refuse it. We consulted experts in animal welfare, animal rescue, mental health, and legal guardianship around the country. We drafted a family plan detailing how we could make home improvements, assist with sorting and clearing, and most important, place a few dogs. We sought parental input and buy-in. Our attempts were met with angry and threatening pronouncements and abruptly hanging up during family conference calls. In the winter of 2017, I informed my parents I would do my part to place 10 dogs. I needed their cooperation. If they refused to work with me, I told them I would contact authorities at Animal Control. Under protest, my mother released 10 dogs to me and my husband on March 10, 2017. But we learned that a litter of puppies was born that winter, and we knew that none of the dogs were spayed or neutered. In September 2017, I counted 63 dogs. Our concern about the animals and the number of dogs in particular increased. Our parents weren't getting any younger. I approached my parents again in the winter of 2018. I informed them I'd be coming in early April, and I had 6 adoptive homes lined up for 6 more dogs of their choosing. I met with my parents over dinner on April 4th. Again, I proposed taking 6 more dogs. My mother became enraged and stormed out of the restaurant. I was forced to make a very painful decision. I put my trust in Oakland County Animal Control, and I reported this situation. We were faced with the same reality with my parents over and over. We needed help. We couldn't do this alone. I turned to the county for backup. I filed a detailed complaint, and I included photos and videos depicting animals inside the home. Later that month, Oakland County Animal Control determined that my complaint was unfounded. And while the township is now moving to enforce, impose fines, and require licenses for excess dogs, in this case, the concerns I had going into the crisis persist. I need these agencies, and animal control in particular, to come together and help us reduce the number of dogs at my parents' home. The reason the rescue effort worked in March of 2017, but only to the tune of 10 dogs, is that I worked together with Michigan Humane Society. They provided guidance, direction, and support. They treated the dogs when I took them, and they helped place them. There was a community effort. That community effort is missing today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate it. We have others. Pam? Again, please identify yourself and city you live in, reside in.
Pam Sordell, founder of Puppy Mill Awareness of Southeast Michigan. I reside in Clarkston, and I've
Thank
come
you.
to you many times. Mostly, I mean, we work on pet store campaigns and commercial dog breeding, but in this, most of the cases I bring forward to you are animal hoarding. It's usually a good breeder. At one point has spiraled out of control with age. It is a mental illness. This is an animal hoarding case. She's collecting a variety of animals. There's 55 animals in the home. When she visited, including the chickens and ducks and birds. I think after going through the Mary Gabriel Golden Retriever case, I think I've learned where some of the problems are, where they reside. This is an update to the Golden Retriever case. She had 60 dogs when we started. A kennel worker had came forward and she visited you many times. She was actually prosecuted for animal cruelty last fall, and it was through the Wayne County through Wayne County. It was Livonia's prosecutor. So we did not, in Oakland County, take care of that situation, unfortunately. I know with age it's hard to think about criminalizing an elderly couple, but in most cases with these types of personalities and the illness, you do have to prosecute to put them on probation so you can check on the animals to see if they recollect. So in this case, I just want to remind you, I know you saw some of the photos. Under our penal code, Michigan has really strong cruelty laws. Under Michigan Penal Code 750.5, neglect means to fail to sufficiently properly care for an animal to the extent that animal's health is jeopardized. In this case, we have a veterinarian report that does say the dogs did have a lot of issues. Certain dogs had issues that were in the veterinary report. I asked Michigan Humane Society how they would have handled this case because they have been called to help before. Debbie McDonald spent about an hour with me yesterday talking about this case and how they would have handled it. Sometimes you have to give them corrective actions on your first visit, tell them what they need to do, get grooming, take them to the veterinary facility, and if they don't correct these actions, then you can proceed with prosecution, but you work with the prosecutor. In this case, over 10 animals were impacted, and the prosecutor's office in Oakland County was not notified. They were notified after the visit. They worked with corporate counsel instead of the prosecutor's office. Normally, if there's under 10 animals, it would be a misdemeanor and it would be handled in a district court. So in this case, they failed to work with the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office. This case was also referred to the Oakland, Adult Protective Services, and they do have 2 open cases, but we're not holding our breath on that. We are counting on my township. This is in my township. This is 4 miles from my house. I'm counting on my township to follow through with the zoning ordinance and to take a look at the animals again. We really need to get all of the animals out. Unfortunately, prosecution is necessary so we can gain access. But we will be starting a campaign. We have to take this to the public. We are not getting anywhere. The animals are still in this home after 2.5 months. We've been working privately with different key elected officials and in the administration. So we will be taking this to the public, and I think that maybe this is a result of they don't want to spend money on investigation, evidence gathering, or caring for 50 animals for maybe 9 months during court costs. But I think animals are a priority in our county, and I think they're a priority throughout the whole state. And we should make those expenses if we have to. And we need to up the training. I asked Bob Gett just a half an hour ago, what is a training program for animal control officers to handle big cases? He did not have any training program. And I've asked many times to this group, what is the training program? Debbie McDonald has offered. She came in one time, but I don't think they're prepared for these large-scale seizures. That's what I'm getting the impression. I think the officers do care, but they don't want to spend the expense on an animal cruelty case of this size. And I think that's a shame. I think these cases deserve the best officers assigned. I think detectives should be assigned, and they should handle the parents with dignity, respect, and kindness as we would treat the animals as well. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anyone else from the public would like to make any comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comments and move on to our regular agenda. And the first item is the Circuit Court Family Division Oakland County Child Care Fund Budget 2018-2019. This is moved by Commissioner McGilvery, supported by Commissioner Jackson. And our presenters are, if you'll please identify yourselves, please.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
My name is David Bilson. I'm the Deputy Court Administrator. And to my left is John Cooperwaiter from my office. And
Good morning, I'm Tom Schreier. I'm the Child Welfare Director for the Oakland County Department of Health and Human Services.
Very good. Welcome, gentlemen.
thank you very much. Commissioners, as you know, under the statute, we must develop and submit a plan for the Child Care Fund, which we're here to do that today. The plan from last year is not much different regarding financially. I think it's less than 1% change from last year. Expenditures are around $34 million. And as you know from previous times, this addresses foster care issues, delinquency cases, helps us fund those programs. And I'll open myself up and the gentleman to my left and right for any questions.
Okay. Any questions from any commissioners? Okay, Commissioner Jackson.
Okay, thank you. You said that this covers foster care, services to children in the foster care system. I know the state, this is from the state, this is money that is handled by Oakland County from the state. Does it pay for any type of educational services?
Most of it has to do with on-home care placement costs, and then in-home care. There is some educational components within some in-home care programs that we have, like intensive probation and the juvenile drug court. I'm not sure, Tom, do you have any in DHS in your educational programs?
In regards to when the child is placed in a residential facility, there's educational component to that, so that's incorporated in the cost.
Okay, also, and the reason why I'm asking, a parent of a foster child in my district was mentioning about summer camp, day camps. Day camp in Southfield doesn't really take these funds to pay for children to go to those programs, and it's a much needed service for our kids to go to camp. Who would we contact to talk about that part of the funding and the issue?
You go first, and I'll go
Yeah.
second.
I can give you a contact in regards to the Department of Health and Human Services as far as any type of summer opportunities. There are identified day camps that foster kids do go to that we do have during the summer, so I can definitely provide you that information.
Okay.
And just a note, and this goes beyond this topic, but just since we're talking about it, as you know, youth assistance. We have a great youth assistance office, and they offer certain kids for summer camps also.
Okay.
So it might be a little bit too late now, obviously, because we're in midsummer, but at least for next summer, we could address it.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions of any commissioners? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Spiz,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Teets,
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Dwyer.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
No, just the only other thing that I'll just put on the table is that we're still dealing with the issue of potentially getting 17-year-olds. That statute or that bill is still kind of stalled at this point right now. We're always talking about it, trying to prepare for it with Ms. Overall, who's here also from Children's Village. And if that passes, then we'll definitely let you know, and we'll have to deal with some issues.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Our next item is the Sheriff's Office Contract Amendment Number 1 for law enforcement services for the Oakland County Parks Recreation Commission 2017-2018. This will be an automatic direct referral to the Human Resources and Finance Committee, and we have with us Under Sheriff Mike McCabe, and with you, Under
Gaya
Sheriff.
Pier. Gaya is the Dale Cunningham version 2.0. Now that Dale has retired, the sheriff, we went through a process, and Gaya did an outstanding job, and she started work with us yesterday, full-time.
Well, welcome.
So you'll be seeing her. You see her a lot at other committees, but you'll see
Yes.
her a lot, obviously, on sheriff's issues. Unfortunately, yes.
Wow. Welcome. So, Mr. Cunningham, he's retired now?
He's retired. He's coming back part-time. He has come back part-time, and he'll be helping Gaya do some transition things. And she's moved into her office. She's got a lot of things that she's got to get oriented to. So Dale will be here to assist her.
Good, okay. This is moved by Commissioner Spiz, supported by Commissioner McGilvery.
Parks approached us, and we fully support their proposal to add one more full-time deputy to the Parks unit. It's been an extremely busy summer so far in the parks, and this will help with the coverage at all the county parks, both in the south end and the north end.
Very good. Any questions from any commissioners? Okay, seeing none. Oh, Commissioner Spiz.
We're just adding one head?
Pardon me, sir?
We're adding one head for all the parks?
Yes, if you remember, we have a lieutenant, a sergeant. This will be the third full-timer, and then we have a bunch of part-timers.
Okay. Any other questions? Commissioner McGilvery.
Just a comment, Lieutenant Sexton came into our rec board and talked about some of the events. Some of them were shooting at Catalpa Oaks down in the south end. It was neighborhood related, as I understand it, or?
Well, there was an event that went on there, some sort of, I don't call it a rally or whatever, but you know, there's the soccer fields and the baseball fields here. It's really basically what's down there next to the health division. And there was, Southfield PD is investigating. We insisted them, but they took the investigation over from the beginning. And, you know, there's rumors that it was gang related, not quite so sure about that, but this was already in the works when that occurred. We just feel it's, you know, beefing up the staff is always a good thing. So that park will be getting more attention. It gets a lot of attention now.
Yeah. Lieutenant Sexton's pointed out that there were several things going on over this summer, more so than years past. So that was her reason for wanting to add a deputy. They brought it to the Parks Board. Naturally, we called a special meeting so we can get it done and excuse me, and hired in July, which is the main part of the summer. So that's why it was brought to you now.
Very good. Okay, any other comments? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Jackson,
Yes.
Teets,
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Dwyer.
Yes, motion carries. Next item is the Sheriff's Office 2018 Law Enforcement Distribution Program Acceptance, and this is moved by Commissioner Jackson, supported by Commissioner Teets.
This is our annual Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards training. We get 2 disbursements a year. It's based on a formula that it's not much. It gets about roughly maybe about $150 a year per full-time equivalent to do training within the agency. It doesn't cover anywhere near what needs to be covered. We've approached a couple of state reps to see if they can beef this fund up. By way of example, our dispatcher training fund, they get about close to somewhere between $450 and $500 a year for our dispatchers, and we can backfill with overtime in order to accomplish that training. That's not allowed under MCOLS, so we're asking for some changes and beef up in MCOLS funds that would benefit everybody. Your agency, Commissioner, being one of the larger agencies, would benefit tremendously, obviously. So Again, this is just our, if you accepted our biannual disbursement.
Very good. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Teets,
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Dwyer.
Yes, motion carries. Item 4 is the Sheriff's Office 2018 High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area, known as HIDA, grant acceptance. This is moved by Commissioner Spiz, supported by Commissioner Jackson.
This is our annual disbursement from HIDA. It's federal pass-through dollars that come to the HIDA initiative. Sheriff's Office participates in HIDA. I'm on the executive board at HIDA. Commissioner Dwyer used to be there. In fact, he was chair, vice chair and chair, if I recall correctly, for a period of time. And the money is used to reimburse for overtime for every community that participates. There's 15 communities that participate, including the Sheriff's Office and the DEA. And it will help offset some of the overtime and also pay for cell phones for the narcotics enforcement team.
Okay, any questions? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Teets,
Yes.
Dwyer.
Yes, motion carries.
If I might point out, I should have,
Yes.
NET is the #1 HIDA initiative and has been for several years of all the state initiatives across the state, and we're very proud of that fact.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, item 5, Sheriff's Office Contract Amendment Number 3 for law enforcement services in the Chartered Township of Orion, 2017-2018, moved by Commissioner Spiz, supported by Commissioner Teets.
Orion Township and the Lake Orion School District have gotten together and desirous of adding another, there's currently one school resource or school liaison deputy that works at the high school. This person would be assigned primarily to the middle school, but also service the other schools on an as-needed basis.
Good.
So we're pleased with what's going on around here to hopefully add this position in Lake Orion
Yes.
Community Schools.
Excellent. Any questions?
No question.
Okay, Commissioner, roll call vote, please.
Spiz,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Teets,
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Dwyer.
Yes, motion carries. Next item is Public Services.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Under Sheriff McCabe, anything to report from the sheriff or yourself?
All quiet on the western
All
front.
quiet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 6, Public Services Department MSU Extension Modification of a Professional and Educational Service Contract. And this is moved by Commissioner Jackson, supported by Commissioner McGilvray, and our presenters are Mr. Mark Newman, and with you, Mark, is,
Sheila Levy. Sheila is the administrative assistant at Michigan State Extension.
oh, welcome.
Works for the county. Good morning. This is just, we brought before you a resolution to modify the contract that we entered into with Michigan State for them to provide services that used to be performed by county employees. These county employees retired or quit, moved on, and it was in the best interest of the programs to have Michigan State employees actually handle that. In doing so, we've vacated those positions and made them vacant. However, we used the monies from those vacated positions to help fund this contract. In the contract, we inadvertently left out a third vacant position. We're just modifying the contract so that it shows that, so that we can pay the bill to Michigan State.
Very good.
Use those monies to pay the bill.
Okay, any questions from any commissioners? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Jackson.
Yes.
Teets,
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Dwyer.
Yes, motion carries. Any other comments, Mr. Newman?
No, sir. Sheila and staff are doing a great job there.
Great, thank you. Okay, under communications, we have 2 items, and I'd ask for a motion to receive and file. So moved by Commissioner Spiz, supported by Commissioner McGilvray. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the committee? Seeing none, we are adjourned at 11:26 a.m.